This episode is brought to you by Skinny Pop Popcorn. Perfectly popped, endlessly delicious. Oh, so light and crunchy. Skinny Pop Original Popcorn is the snack you've been searching for. Made with just 3 simple ingredients: popcorn kernels, sunflower oil, and salt. Snacking never felt or tasted so good. Perfectly popped, endlessly delicious. Give yourself permission to snack and pick up Skinny Pop Original Popcorn today.
Tonight, we have a special edition of Metal Mayhem. We're talking with Paul Mazurkiewicz, drummer of Cannibal Corpse. The album Violence Unimagined and the tour starting this week. All that and more next. Metal Mayhem ROC.
WLFE TV Radio.
Are you ready?
Live from the Metal Mayhem Studios in Rochester, New York.
We are gold.
And heard around the world by metalheads just like you. This is Metal Mayhem ROC.
Heavy metal music.
Your weekly dose of metal music, interviews, album reviews, news, and more. Want to be part of the show? Send us a message through our website, metalmayhemroc.com, or hit us up on Facebook and Twitter. Search Metal Mayhem ROC.
It's getting nice and heavy.
And now, welcome tonight's host, Jon The Vernomatic Verno.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to a special edition of Metal Mayhem ROC. I'm the Vernomatic, and on tonight's show, we're speaking with Paul Mazurkiewicz, drummer of Cannibal Corpse, the veteran fucking powerhouse band from Buffalo, New York / Tampa, Florida. Released the new album Violence Unimagined last April, and this Friday night down in Atlanta, Georgia, they start the tour with fellow label mates Whitechapel and Refication on the 40th anniversary of the Metal Blade Records tour. I'm joined tonight by a longtime buddy of mine and a good friend of Paul, Bill Lander, lead vocalist of the band Order of the Dead. We take a walk down heavy metal memory lane. Bill and Paul worked together in the mid-90s on some of those early Cannibal Corpse tours. We're going to discuss what went on there. Seeing that we're up here in Rochester, New York, and Paul and the band came from Buffalo, New York, we talk about the beginning time of the Cannibal Corpse era. So, like I said, it's a great special edition. We try to support a lot of these bands as they put out either new material or go on tour. We're just doing our part to get the word out there. Bill, welcome to the show. How are you, man?
All right. How you doing? What's up, Ragers?
Thanks for taking some time and coming with us tonight.
Right on.
So, well, let's get it going. From Cannibal Corpse, Paul Mazurkiewicz. Hey, Paul, welcome to Metal Mayhem ROC.
Hey, man, thanks for having me.
Of course. Reacquainting with your old buddy, Bill?
How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
Very good, thanks.
Good to hear your voice, man.
You too.
So, congratulations on the new release. Violence Unimagined came out last April already. When Bill and I were doing research and pre-production for this, I was like, well, it just came out. And he's like, nah, Vernon, last April. I'm like, are you kidding me? It was like time has flown. So congratulations on the 15th studio. How's the album been doing? Been doing all right for the band without touring at least?
Yeah, man. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. And, amazing. We did the best first week numbers of any of our releases, which was crazy without obviously having a tour behind it. And I know it is weird to think that it's been out since April. My gosh, that's crazy. But as far as we know, actually a good question. I don't know offhand how well it's been doing in the recent months. I would imagine it's still going pretty strong. But like I said, that first week when we released it, was amazing numbers, hitting Billboard the way we did in the top 10 and all that. It was just unbelievable. So it seems like the fans are digging it, and it's a cool thing, man.
Right off the bat, you have some an old new player in the band. Erik Rutan, if that's how you pronounce his name correctly, taking over for the guitarist Pat O'Brien, left in the 2017-2018 period. Tell us about Erik. Now, he's produced the last 3 or 4 of your albums and produced Violence Unimagined. How is the addition of Erik to your compound?
Oh, man. Erik is an amazing, amazing musician, amazing guy. I mean, you can't say enough good things about him. Nothing bad about this guy. He's just a hard worker. I mean, all about perfection in metal, and I mean, it's amazing to have him as a part of the team now. I mean, right? He's done what I think this is our 5th album with him actually now. He first one he did was back in 2006 when he produced Kill. And then he's done every one ever since, other than A Skeletal Domain, which I think was back in 2014, I want to say. I don't even, it's hard to remember all these dates. But either way, Erik has done, has been working with us for quite a while now. And, he was a big part of our sound, of course. And then, yes, exactly, bringing him into the band as a player and as a part of Cannibal has been amazing. And, he's bringing new energy and positivity to the band. And, I mean, it's just like, bringing your friend in. I mean, we've done everything with him up until this point, and now he's just writing songs and he's recording, and it's great to have him. Really is. I mean, like I said, can't say enough about him, man. It's been awesome.
This evening, we're going to dedicate a major part of the time to the new album. Both Bill and I have digested it, and there's a couple speaking points that I want to cover with you, get your interpretation on stuff. But let's start at the beginning. You're, by root, a Western New York guy. Buffalo, New York. Born in Buffalo? Are you native Buffalonian?
Kind of weird. No, my family's from Buffalo. But I was actually born in Great Falls, Montana, on an Air Force base when my dad was stationed there. And he was there for 4 years. So he left Buffalo, joins the Air Force, and gets stationed in Great Falls, Montana. I'm born there. I lived there till I'm 2 years old. And then, of course, he, ran his course with did his time, did his service, and moved back to Buffalo. So my sister was born in Buffalo after me, and, my parents were born in Buffalo. Everyone was born in Buffalo but me, go figure. So, but yeah, of course, I'm Buffalonian. Been there. I don't have any recollection of Montana being so young, but Buffalo was definitely home and always will be. So.
Well, we're going to adopt you as a Western New Yorker because the band did start up in there. Buffalo in the mid-'80s, just like Rochester, was a major metal hub. The pipeline up to Rochester is well documented. The Music America scene, Central New York, Ithaca, and, Fredonia. They had a recording engineer course up at Fredonia University that, Chris Bubas and a lot of the guys that worked at that Pyramid Sound and up here in the Music America was up there. So Buffalo has its roots.
Yeah.
Now I remember Cannibal Corpse all the way back, at the beginning. I'm a metaler, a lifelonger, but I've stayed more in the, I'm going to be honest, in the more neutral lane, classic metal rock. And, the hardest I really got was Slayer and maybe a little crossover. Big Miami Dolphin fan. So when, you guys were in the Ace Ventura movie, I was like, yeah, all right. Those guys, I respect the brutalness. And then when Billy came around, we've been friends since 6th grade. And when he spent the time in Tampa, he was telling me your relationship.
Yeah.
Let's touch on the Buffalo, New York metal scene back in the day when you were getting the band going. But let's not take a deep dive into it, but tell us quickly about the Buffalo, New York metal scene in 83, 84, 85.
Oh, I mean, it was awesome. I mean, every show, major show was coming through Buffalo, at the Memorial Auditorium there where, Buffalo Sabres played. And, so you had all the big ones coming through. And then, of course, at that time in 82, 83, 84, I was, I was a little too young to be involved in the club scene, of course, but I went to so many concerts at that time, being at, like I said, the Odd, and there were all the big names, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, everyone was coming through there. And it was, I thought it was a hotbed, man. It was a lot of metal, a lot of metal fans going on, a lot of music fans in general, but definitely it was a great spot for metal. And fast forward a few years exactly into the mid 80s, the late 80s there, when we're older and, Cannibal's getting formed and we're starting to play our, instruments, being late teens and all that, being involved in the club scene. Then, a lot of the smaller bands, of course, were coming through then and playing the bars, and, Metallica and Slayer and all that kind of stuff. So, it was awesome, man. A great scene, I mean, when Cannibal played our first show in '89, opening for Dark Angel, it was epic. It was an amazing show, playing a smaller bar, 450 people, sold out, packed in, to this tiny little place. And, the energy was just incredible. And, there was just a testament of the, how great Buffalo was at that time, and then there was so much coming through, so yeah, I mean, it was a great scene, great scene to be a part of.
Bill's itching at the bit to take a deep dive into the new one. I have one quick question. Were you at the Salty Dog Metallica Wasp show in '85?
Yes, of course. Yes, I was. It was probably the best concert I ever saw. I mean, the timing of it was just perfect. Yes, when we were getting into Metallica, we were already into Metallica when Kill 'Em All was out, of course.
Yep.
And then I'll never forget hearing Creeping Death for the first time, and we didn't know it was Metallica off the new record. We heard it on a radio show, and we heard Creeping Death, and we were blown away. We're like, what is this? Because it obviously sounded, different than anything off of Kill 'Em All.
Yeah.
They took that step on Ride the Lightning, and we were just utterly just blown away, and we were just freaking out about Metallica. And then come to find, it was a few months after that Metallica are playing in, at the Salty Dog in Buffalo. And we were like, we of course are going to the show. We had to go. I remember it being a major snowstorm, and
that's why I wasn't there.
Yeah, exactly.
And
luckily
Vern.
we got there. Yeah, luckily we got there, and we were only living right down the road.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember that day where we had to have we had like 10 different rides lined up, because of course we weren't driving at the time, or '85. I don't think any of us were even old enough to have our license, and we needed rides from our parents. And with the snowstorm, I mean, it wound up going through few options. We finally got there, and luckily it ended up going off because of the snowstorm. And it was amazing. It was like the best show I've ever seen. And, I didn't see much, because I just remember headbanging in front of Kirk Hammett the whole show. So, but it was incredible to be there. What an experience! I'm
Awesome.
so glad I was a part of that.
Yeah, that hurts really bad. I had to tell the guys that my father would not let us go because of the snowstorm, and I did have a license.
Had ticket in hand, looking out the window. Oh man.
All right, well, we're going to revisit heavy metal memory lane a little bit later, but Bill, like I said, is itching to take a deep dive into Violence Unimagined. Bill, stage is yours. What do you got, man?
Right on, brother. Yeah, Paul. So the new album, I know you write more lyrics. It seems that what you wrote on a couple of tunes this time around, and you wrote the lyrics to Murderous Rampage and Cerements of the Flayed.
Right. Yeah.
So how was the writing process on this album? I know things were weird with the COVID situation, but
yeah, very strange how everything went. I mean, ironically enough, we were done with the writing before COVID.
We were
actually more concerned about the recording.
All right.
Because when you look at how everything hit in March, and we were scheduled to go in April, and we did, luckily. But when everything hit the fan was mid-March basically.
Yep.
So at that point, we're kind of just putting the final touches on the music and everything, getting prepared to go in April. And then we were worried, are we going to be able to record? Albeit we're all in Florida here, and but hey, are we going to be able to drive? All those questions that you just didn't know. Is the studio actually going to be able to be open?
Right.
Are they going to come and shut it down? So we were really concerned about that. But so luckily it didn't really affect the writing process at all. And it did. In the end, it didn't affect the recording either, other than Alex living in Portland. And he was supposed to fly in to do the bass tracks. Of course, he never was able to do that. So luckily, he has his home studio, and he did all the bass for the record at home.
Oh, right on. Okay.
Yeah. So, and that was, such a minor hiccup. But man, you wouldn't know. I mean, bass turned out great.
Right.
Everything sounds awesome. So that was the one thing that where COVID made a little dent in there, but I mean, like I said, nothing major at all, but yeah, when it came down to the lyrics, like you're saying, I know, weird. It's like the last couple of records, I ended up writing half the record. And this time around, since we got, of course, Erik in the band, and Erik being, we wanted him to write, and he wrote the 3 songs, and he wanted to write his own lyrics, because he obviously being a lyricist as well. So, it's kind of like, hey, why not?
That helps you guys,
Yeah, it gives a different take on things, it's great to have another lyricist, and and then I ended up only having 2, which is a little strange from writing 6, one out last album 5, and, here I am writing 2, but I'm like, hey, whatever, that's fine. It's good to spread it around. And if Erik wanted to write lyrics, let him do it. And he wrote some great ones. And, so that's how that came around. I know, looking back, Erik's like, oh man, I should have let you write one of mine, but I was just feeling it. I'm like, hey man, no, go with it.
Go with
it. Yeah, exactly. You had the ideas, they were your songs, man, go with it. So, the weird thing, I guess, I ended up writing a song of Alex's, Cerements of the Flayed, and we did the research. I haven't written an Alex song in 20 years. Since I wrote Blowtorch Slaughter off of Bloodthirst.
Oh wow.
So it was kind of cool to do an Alex song, after all this time. So,
right on.
But yeah, that's basically how that went down, Billy.
Cool.
Now, Paul, you mentioned, and it's been well documented, what's the dog's name in the background?
Oh my gosh. I got 3 of them. Sorry about that.
No, that's fine. Hey, more the merrier. Hey, this is life.
We got Ajax, Calypso, and Anjo, and hopefully they'll shut up.
That's fine. So did you feel that it was a little bit of a relief of not have to always take care of the lyrics and writing songs, even though you guys split things up? Did the dynamics organically change once Erik came into the band? And comment on the music that he brought to the table. A little different, coming from his Hate Internal and Morbid Angel background. Was his music a little different and refreshing, if you will?
Oh yeah, I mean, definitely. When you're going to bring in a new guy, and he's going to write, it's going to, I think, we've only had a few obviously changes throughout the years, but the people that come in and write, they know it, they got to write Cannibal Corpse songs here, and it's going to be their take on Cannibal. And Erik has been around us long enough and knows how we write and all those kinds of things. But yeah, it's Erik, and he's going to have his own certain style and flavors and touch on how he does things. So, so it was refreshing for us, different, I'm used to, it was a few years, of course, since we had a lineup, anybody new in the band. And then, now I got to play along to Erik's songs, which are, of course, a bit different. I think they turned out great, but it was refreshing, and that was a cool thing. What was the first part of the question there? I can't remember.
Oh, was it a relief that...
Oh, the lyrics.
Yeah, a little less heavy lifting on this one.
Well, yeah, how we end up working is, man, when we're concentrating on the music, that's first and foremost. I don't think hardly any lyrics ever get done with us until we're it's the last kind of step in the process, and a lot of times the lyrics, since we do have enough time in recording, the way I work usually is I'm going to get the drums laid down. All right, we're going to be in the studio for, the better part of 2 months, maybe 3 months. Well, then I'm going to start writing the lyrics, because, man, I've been busting my ass trying to learn these songs to get ready to do the drums, right? So I can't even concentrate on anything else but that. So as soon as I'm done, then I'm like, okay, well, I guess whatever lyrics I got to write, well, now I start writing, and albeit, right, is it 5 songs? Is it 2 songs? So, what we talked about earlier, how I mentioned to Bill there, only having to do 2 was like kind of a relief in a sense. I mean, I was ready to do more if need be, but hey, I had less of a workload because I'm only doing 2 as opposed to 5 or 6, so so that was all right. I didn't mind it, as much as, like I said, I don't mind writing more if I'm needed. I'm kind of on call if it comes down to it. I think that's how I ended up actually doing Cerements of the Flayed, with Alex's song, because he of course usually writes the lyrics for his, but he was doing the same thing. He's learning the songs, and then he's got to write lyrics. He's got to record at home. I remember he kind of came at the last minute, like, "Hey, Paul, can you write the lyrics to this one song?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, I'm ready. I'm done. I'm not sitting around." I did the drum tracks. I wrote Murderous Rampage already. If you need me, I'm in. So I ended up having to write Cerements that way. But yeah, so it was a little bit different, but yeah, a little less stressful, I guess, when you only got to do 2 as opposed to, like I said, 5 or 6.
Couple observations, couple tracks. Now, remember, I digested a lot of this for the first time, and Inhuman Harvest, I took a liking to that track. It was one thing I noticed, my interpretation of the Cannibal Corpse sound in 2022. It's, Paul, and I say this with a compliment, it's not that heavy compared to some of that stuff that's out there, but yet it's tasty. Is it the fact that you've crafted your art for the last 30 years, or you're just, I say this with respect, that you're just older guys and you don't have to go 1,000 miles an hour and your music has a chance to breathe a little? Because that's what I got out of the song Inhuman Harvest. It had a chance to breathe a little bit.
Right. No, I think you're totally correct on that. I think we've been honing our craft for, since the beginning. We're always trying to concentrate on writing better songs, Sure. And at this point, exactly, you might have gone through your stages when you're younger. Of course, it's all about speed and fast and everything. And then, you finally just go, okay, you don't have to write everything 1,000 miles an hour. Then you write some slow songs, and it's just about writing a heavy song. It doesn't, so I think we've come to the realization, it doesn't, as long as it's heavy, it doesn't have to be always fast. I mean, it could be slow, it could be mid-paced, it could be all of that, or what have you. But that was a Rob song. It's actually Inhumane Harvest. And that's one of Rob Barrett's songs. And I'll tell you, I think Rob has written some of the best material he's done in the last couple records. I mean, his songs are just super catchy, super heavy, just great heavy metal songs, and that's what we're going for, man. We don't need to compete with anybody. We never felt we did. But I think, yes, the older you get, you just want to play stuff that sounds good. And you're not thinking of, like I said, about, having to be the fastest or what have you of that nature. So yeah, that, funny you say that, or maybe not, or just ironic. That's like my favorite song on the record. When I listen to the record, I'm like, man, Inhumane Harvest just got it all. It's just great hooks. It's got the whole heavy middle part. I mean, it's just what a catchy, great Cannibal Corpse song. But I'm glad you see that, hear that, and but yeah, we just want to be ourselves, and that's, I think, what we're doing.
As far as your songs go, you've always been more. You guys, compared to other death metal bands, you've always been more in the realm of your songs structure is more in the classic realm of rock bands and early heavy metal. And what I mean by that is you have more of a structure to your songs than just some of these newer bands that just go ballistic.
Right.
I mean, I'm not going to name any names because we don't need to do that. But as some of these newer bands just don't seem to have as much structure to their songs. You know what I mean?
Right. I totally know what you mean. And it's funny you say that too, Bill, because you look at early Cannibal. I mean, you listen to some of those songs off of like Butchered or Tomb or whatever, and you're going, what the hell were we doing? I mean, there's 70 riffs, I mean,
right.
Different tempo change. It seems like we were all over the place, and there's some good stuff in there, of course.
Oh, of course.
We're happy with that. But I think, yes, as time went on, when we realized, exactly how to craft a song better, and make it memorable. And like you said, be in that kind of classic metal, or just rock or whatever, kind of just that classic kind of writing there, that the way people are going to remember songs. I mean, yeah, it can be done. It can be done and still be heavy and brutal,
Excellent.
And I think we've shown that and proved that, right? So I think it's good to have that structure. You want the choruses, right? You want the repeating riffs, I think we've learned. So.
Right on.
It's interesting. I was reading a couple reviews, And in the press release that I received from Metal Blade, they had the Kerrang quote about, after 3 decades and change, Cannibal Corpse has become the Motorhead of death metal. Naturally reliable, ever in the zone, still louder and heavier than any of the bands who followed them. Comment on that. Is that you take that as a compliment? Because Motorhead's Motorhead, but you have parallels. It's you get what you get. This is what we are.
Right. Oh, I totally take that as a compliment, because you get what you get, right? When you're going to listen to Cannibal Corpse, you're going to buy a new record, you know what you're getting. There's going to be no second guessing. There's going to be no, I wonder what they're going to, how it's going to sound like this, because so many bands have done that in the past, So if you can, I think, we're being ourselves. Yes, we're not being anybody else. We're playing music we're playing Cannibal Corpse music for ourselves, and we're staying true to ourselves. And then I know the fans of course, over years come to understand that and to rely on us to know what they're going to get. They don't have to worry that, oh my gosh, what are they going to do? Yeah, they're going to start having clean vocals or whatever. I mean, it's like, no, it's going to be Cannibal Corpse. That's what you're going to get. So I totally take that as a compliment. The other one we always hear, and I mean, that's a major compliment. If you're going to be put in the same sense with like bands like Motorhead, and I mean, those are legendary bands, of course, or we always hear we're the AC/DC of death metal, kind of the same thing. Right. Well, there you go. AC/DC was the AC/DC. They weren't anybody else. They weren't trying to be anybody else. They were AC/DC. You know what you were getting. And, so to hear those, phrases and compliment, comparisons like that is a complete compliment. And, that's what we're going for, man. We gotta be Cannibal Corpse until the end. That's just the way it is.
I don't want to dive into the COVID scene because it's played out and it's, no one really wants to talk about it anymore. But when you were doing the pre-production of the new album and you were ready to go into studio and you mentioned that right at the last minute, it's like, whoa, this pandemic came around. We can't even get in the studio. How did that affect you bringing Erik in as the replacement for Pat? Did you catch a break? Because how were you going to get someone to, like, what if Erik couldn't do it? How would you have possibly auditioned, and what kind of roadblock would that have put in the Cannibal Corpse blueprint the next 3 years?
We don't even think about it, because actually the decision was made, well before all that, because obviously we started, said when we finished the Red Before Black tour cycle, which Erik, of course, completed the last 4 tours of that, and then we decided we knew we were going in to do it with Erik, and we were still uncertain of what's happening, in the band, in that sense. And then when we made the decision, we were like, well, Erik's the obvious choice. That's who we want. And it was kind of like when we got George in the band. There was no second. There was no, if George didn't join the band, we had no plan B. And
yeah.
so if Erik didn't join the band, we had no plan B.
That's what I was getting at.
So we don't even want to think about it, because we never got to that point, right? So who knows what would have happened or would have been done, So it all worked out in both scenarios there, and you didn't have to think about the what ifs or like the repercussions of what would we have done, I guess, because it didn't get to that point. So yeah, luckily it all worked out in that way. And right, you were saying pre-production, while Erik's writing his songs, we're getting ready to go in the studio, and everything's going as we planned, other than the pandemic hitting, and then just having the worry of are we going to be able to record, and Alex not being there, but yeah, kind of weird to think about, right? Like, what if Erik's, oh man, I can't, I'm not going to, I don't want to join, or like I said, even going back to George when we kicked Barnes out, and George was our choice, and that was it, and we needed him and we wanted him, and if he would have said no, now what's plan B? We didn't have that, so yeah, we got lucky in both accounts here.
We're talking with Paul Mazurkiewicz, drummer for Cannibal Corpse, the new album Violence Unimagined. Cannibal Corpse will return to the stage with Whitechapel and Revocation. It's a 40th anniversary of Metal Blade Records, and there's additional support by Shadow of Intent. Shadow Intent part of the Metal Blade roster too?
Good question. I don't know, actually.
I don't honestly. I don't think they are. Not sure what label, but I don't think they're on Metal Blade.
Well,
I don't believe so either.
They caught a break. I have one more question about the new album, and it's the sequencing. Murderous Rampage. I think it's a kick-ass opener. Who decides the sequencing? You guys look at each other and go, oh yeah, that's the opener.
No, that was a Rob Barrett. Rob wrote that one, and like we talked about earlier, Bill brought it up. I wrote the lyrics, but you know what it comes down to? It's kind of like you're writing the songs, and you obviously got to you're keeping it in the back of your head. Nobody's writing to go, this is going to be the opener. You're writing the songs that you feel you need to write, and then something's got to open the record. So I think it just comes down to a collective agreement upon everybody once they hear all the songs going, man, that one sounds like it would be the opener, or this one or that one, or this one should go last, or what have you, or so I think once we get the songs are done or done in pre-production and you have all of them and you can kind of listen to them all, some just make utter sense to be maybe in the running, maybe you got one or two or three that go, well, that could be the opener. And then there's some that you're going, no, man, of course, no, that couldn't be an opener. It just doesn't sound right, or whatever. So luckily we feel all pretty good about it. And there hasn't been usually too much debate in sequencing for the most part. It usually falls into place pretty good. But yeah, I think everybody, I remember bringing that up, man, that just sounds like an opener. I mean, to me, that's just a mean opener, just fast and, it's just catchy. I mean, not that any of them aren't catchy or anything, but but it seemed to make sense to be in the opener. So obviously, like I said, we all got to agree on that. Otherwise, we go back to the drawing board, and we want to do everything democratically. So if it's 3 against 2, 4 against 1, well then then we're gonna end up going with that. But yeah, we something's got to be it. Murderous seemed to make sense, and that's cool that you feel that way as well there, because I think it's a good one to open the record.
Well, yeah, I'm a fresh canvas. You're getting some input from someone that doesn't have preconceived. So
that's good. Yeah, right. That's it.
Do you ever feel and ask yourself, geez, I can't go out on a 10-month tour anymore, or how long can I do this? How long? Or do you just take it as living in the moment? We're doing this now. We can't control 2 years from now.
Yeah, so it's a bit of everything there, right. You kind of take it day by day. And then exactly us being older, like you were saying, you don't have that natural energy that you'd had when you were 20, 30 years old or whatever, right? So, I mean, I got to work harder. I got to keep up on it and playing all the time. If I'm pretty consistent and I keep playing all the time, then I'm feeling pretty good. But man, yeah, right. I missed 2 days of practice or 3 days of practice and I go play. I'm like, oh my God, do I know what I'm doing? Do I have the energy? Do I have the stamina? It's definitely a lot tougher these days. So, this is what we do. So you try not to let any of those things, like you're saying, longer tours, I think we're getting smarter in a lot of those ways. This tour we're doing is going to be at 5 weeks, but I think, luckily in our whole career, in which it maybe helped us in our longevity, is we've never been a band to be like, oh yeah, we're out on the road for say 5 months straight or 6 months, Yeah. The longest tours, we've done 2 long tours, which were about 2.5 months, I believe, in our whole career. So everything has been relatively short, and I think that helps and keeps you fresh, and you're not like just killing your body and mentally and all that being gone all the time, So this one being a 5-weeker is I think we're at that. That's kind of our limit. 5-6 weeks for a tour is going to be it, and not that we're going to do every tour at that length. So it's just, it helps you mentally and physically, right, to do these shorter tours, and will give us that longevity we need to hopefully carry on and play longer. So, but it's just day by day, and this is what we want to do. So you this is what you dreamt of and dreamed of, and our dreams come true, and here we are still doing it at this age, which is amazing. Who would have ever thought back then, right, Bill? When
absolutely.
That we'd be,
I know, honestly, it's amazing. It's almost 35 years for you guys.
Insane, isn't it?
Well, 34 years it would be coming up this year.
Yeah, you're right. So it's incredible to think, who would have ever thought that back when we started, that we'd be still doing this into our 50s, I mean,
Right.
let alone probably our 40s. And then now we're closing in, we could be doing this in our 60s, which is insane. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, just, you take it day by day. I think if you keep up on it, if we're all healthy and, this is what you do, why not? So, but yeah, it's not getting any easier for sure.
Right on. And then actually, that's what we did want to discuss with you, your up and coming band Umbilicus.
Yeah, man. Awesome, man. That's a lot of fun, I mean, it was crazy to go and, to do something different. I know, I don't know if you remember, Billy, back 20 years ago when Jack and I did the side project.
Yep.
Jack and Vern, and we had the project, and we, wrote some songs. We played the 2 shows at the Brass Mug. And I guess that was right around 2000, 2001 or whatever. Crazy to think it was 20 years ago.
Right on.
And we didn't really do much with that project, obviously. We wrote some songs. I thought we wrote some great songs. I mean, we tried to, we played in those shows, and that kind of fell to the wayside. But when the pandemic hit, then, and this all happened right after I recorded the drums for Violence Unimagined. Now the uncertainty kicks in. Okay, we're recording. Great. I'm done recording. I did my drum tracks. There's no tour in sight, right? Normally you would know. Okay, but at that point, everything was up in the air. So you're going, man, I'm gonna probably have a lot of free time here. What do we do?
Right.
And I got a hold of Vern, and said, hey, dude, let's try to, want to revisit the side project. Why not? Now's the time. I mean, we're not getting any younger, and we got the time. Let's do it. So, we got of course, with Jack and Owen is involved in it. That was involved in the first one, and we got a new guitar player, Taylor Nordberg, who plays in the Absence and in Human Condition. Now he just joined Deicide and all that, and we wrote some killer rock and roll songs, man. Just fun old rock and roll kind of thing. And we're in the process right now of finalizing the mixing and getting all that together here. So hopefully we can have that out to the masses within the next few months. But man, what a fun change of pace. I mean, helps the mentality and just something different, and and something that I truly am passionate about. Good old rock and roll that we grew up with, and I do love that kind of music, and it's fun to play. So I'm really looking forward to everybody hearing what we came up with. We got an amazing vocalist. It's funny, we were just listening to actually some of the vocal tracks today. Because we're just finalizing all this. Man, he sounds incredible. This guy is amazing. Brian Stevenson, guy out of Ottawa, Canada, kind of weirdly, that we're 3 of us are down here in Florida, and he's from Ottawa. But man, it sounds amazing. He's an incredible vocalist. He tied all these songs together, and I think we got some pretty cool stuff, man. Can't wait for everyone to hear it.
Cool. And do you foresee any shows or anything like that, or are you just going to take it as it comes?
We got to kind of take it as it comes, since everybody's kind of busy. Obviously, anything that happens is going to have to happen around Cannibal. It's going to have to happen around Taylor with his 5 bands that he's in and all that, and then Brian being up in Canada with still all these crazy restrictions, right? So we plan on doing something. We'd love to play. I'm sure we will play. And it's almost kind of like waited out though, right? I think we're going to self-release it, and once it's out, then you see what the buzz is about, right? Maybe you get some offers, maybe at least can play locally down here. You get Brian to come down here, at least maybe play in Florida a little bit, and work around everyone's schedules here, like I said, with our main bands. But yeah, but it would be great to do that. I'm sure it will happen. It's just a matter of exactly how that'll all pan out.
Cool.
Now, give the history. Bill, what'd you do? You said you were Paul's drum tech or worked on the tour?
Yeah, well, I was a little bit of everything. That was my main gig, but I also was the bus driver and just basically all around, roadie, basically.
How was he, Paul? Did Billy do a good job for you?
Oh yeah, he did great, man. It was fun to have Bill. I mean, it was what a great tour, what a great time. When the band was up and coming back on the Tomb of the Mutilated tour there, right, Bill?
Yes, and, Tomb of the Mutilated.
Tomb of the Mutilated.
Tomb of the Mutilated. Tomb of the Mutilated. You're supposed to say it 3 times, whatever we mentioned.
Yeah, right. Get it. paying homage to Vern, the bass player in Umbilicus. That's a whole nother story. But
that's Tampa Vern. We got two Verns here. This John for the Vernomatic, right. We call him Vern, and then we got Tampa Vern too. So.
It's like when you said Vern 5 minutes ago. I'm like, Scooby Doo. My ears went up. I'm like,
you're like, wait a minute. I didn't know I was involved. In it.
Yeah. I got a fun story to share with you. Last spring, we were talking with James Rivera. Hellstar.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And I dropped Billy's name. And then James is like, oh, man, I love Billy. Then he went ahead and told this whole story about one night. Well, Bill, what was the story? You and James, and you went out to see a band, and he got all hammered, and you had to end up driving him home in some like 79 Continental or something.
Oh, yeah, dude. He was wasted. He was falling down drunk, and I'm like, dude, how are you getting home? And he's like, I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'm bringing you home.
Oh, man, that's funny. Yeah. And you know what's funny that ties that whole thing together, what we were just talking about, the side project. We went through a few singers, and that's probably why that first project broke up back in 20 years ago. Who was our singer for the 2 shows we played? James Rivera.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Yeah, well, he's great. He's got like 50 gigs.
And he's a great vocalist, a great metal vocalist.
He is, yes.
I love Hellstar, man, and Remnants of War.
Classic.
Amazing. And it was great to know that, James is living here in Tampa, and we get to hang out. But remember, Bill, he sang. We went through a few singers, but he sang live with us for those 2 shows. I had
forgotten that. I don't know why I forgot that, because I was there.
Yeah. You must have been drunk then.
Yeah, maybe I drank all his beers that night.
Paul, did you hear about that project he has going on? Well, he's got that, what is it, the Judas Priest?
Sabbath.
He was doing that way back when, too.
No, but the other new one he has, it's a...
the Scorpions?
No, a heavy metal new wave.
Wow. No, I have no idea.
He recorded, re-recorded new wave songs from the 80s, like Depeche Mode and, some of that stuff where, they think it's like the redheaded stepchild of metal, but it isn't. And right. he put a metal twist on it.
Oh, no kidding. Awesome.
Yeah. And, he was just talking about it. He goes, I think he's a self-admitted workaholic, and, but he's a great dude. He was, they had a gig booked, in Houston. And he was like, you guys want to come down here? I'll put you on the list. I know this girl, she makes killer tacos. You got my number. It's like,
Yeah, that's funny. No, what a great guy. No, he was a great guy. We had fun times with him, like Bill said there, and with his excursions, and him jamming with us. That was cool. Yeah, I mean, I remember us freaking going, wow, we got James Rivera singing for us. This is insane. I mean, he's a legend, right, Bill?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know that too, and no, that's awesome, man. It's we haven't seen him in a while, because I knew he moved to Houston, and then every now, I think he came to a couple Cannibal shows over the years, but it's been a few years since I've seen him, so I had no idea what was happening with him in the recent future here, or recent present, I should say.
Right.
So that's awesome. Cool that he's still doing some stuff. I think he'll be doing that forever. Exactly.
Yeah.
Workaholic like that. So that's great, man. Awesome.
So the tour starts the 18th, is it? In Florida?
Yeah, in Atlanta.
In Atlanta, the 19th in Georgia. And we have a Rochester date, Friday, February 25th. You're playing Anthology.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun, man. Always great to come back to Rochester, Buffalo area. I mean, great. It's always usually one or the other on a tour. Either we're going to play Rochester, Buffalo, end up being Rochester, which is great scene there too. We're looking forward to it. We always have a great time. See some, a lot of friends we haven't seen in a while, and we'll see how that goes with this whole COVID, protocol kind of thing. I mean, obviously that could put a damper into, some hangs or anything of that nature. But either way, I'm sure the show is going to be awesome, and always a great time being up there. Not looking forward to the cold, but
it's been cold.
It's been fucking cold. Well, you're Florida blood now.
Yeah, exactly. I've been down here way too long, and I do not like to be in the cold and more than I need to. So the 2 weeks that we're going to be in it, I already, you're looking at the schedule, going, oh my God, okay, maybe by here it should be okay. And all right, it's only 2 weeks, so gotta gear yourself up for those 2 weeks of frigidness. But that's the way it goes, right? So, but yeah, no, Rochester will be a great time. We're looking forward to it.
Remember back in the day when on the tour there, we always had, funny anecdotes while we were killing time making stupid movies, and just had all kinds of crazy sayings like y'all in a band. If you remember the Unleashed guys, they're like, y'all in the band.
Yeah, all in the band. Yeah. Man, those some fun times, wasn't it, Billy?
Oh yes.
Those early times too. I mean,
but do you still get those kind of moments where, where, I don't know, where you guys you're bored and you do something wild and crazy? And
not too much, I guess, anymore. Not the what we used to do back then. We're like, right, we're in the hotels and we're making weird videos or something like that. Or, I mean, it doesn't seem to be as silly as it was.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
we still have that humor, of course, and I think it's just a little more tame in a sense. But you gotta have that out on the road. Just to keep your sanity, I guess, right? Good to get some jokes going, or a lot of times you might just get some sort of inside joke that ends up lasting the whole tour, whatever, if it's like a phrase that something says, or a movie phrase, or or just being even in a region, where I don't know, like if you're down south hearing accents and things like that, and then before you know it, everyone's talking in accents, and and then something gets stuck, and then it's just like like I said, the whole tour or whatever, and and then it's funny, and then you go home and you kind of forget about it, and next tour something else comes up. So I guess it does still happen, but not like it was.
No, I know, but no, that's good though. It keeps the guys having fun, and
yeah, you have to, man, right? It's you got to do what you got to do to keep smiling, keep laughing, and having a good time, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Those are days long gone, and it's sort of sad about, we grew up in the golden age. We grew up going to shows. We used to go to shows here in Rochester Saturday nights at the Rochester War Memorial. It used to be like going to the movies every Saturday night. It's
crazy, wasn't it?
It was great.
It was great.
It's like, you going to the Aerosmith show? Yeah, $10. You going to see Rainbow?
I know. Yeah. I know, and they were one after another. I mean, like, you're getting back to what you said earlier. I remember, 82, 83, 84. I went to probably 50 concerts, and all within that short amount of time, because there was something always coming through, and it was like every week, every other week, you had a major show coming through, and it was just incredible, and they were all amazing. They were all shows you wanted to see, and it was awesome to be a part of that, right?
All right, you know what? Before we go, we play a fun show segment on here called the Mount Rushmore of Metal. And I'm going to ask you, what is your top 4 shows as a fan that you've been to through your entire going to concert career?
Well, let's see. I mean, how can I not say my very first concert, even though it's hard to remember fully? But, my first concert was Kiss Dynasty Tour in 79. So I was what, 10, 11 years old, and that was my first concert. And of course I was a Kiss fanatic, so you're so excited and so happy to go to see them, so that was just like, the best thing ever. Right.
Yep.
Obviously, like I said, tough to remember that because of it, being so young, but I mean, that would have been the start of it. And, how can that not be so special to you? Right. And then, like we already mentioned, man, that Metallica show in 85, that was just such a special moment, special time, perfect timing for that to happen, to where we were just utterly freaking out on Metallica. And then exactly, here they are coming to, to Buffalo here in a smaller kind of venue like that. I mean, a bar, and you're seeing them play these songs. I mean, it was unbelievable. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that was incredible. The next one would be Slayer Rain and Blood tour then in Rochester at the Penny Arcade.
Nice. Oh, you were at that show.
Of course, because they didn't play Buffalo.
Right on.
And of course we're freaking out.
That was a sick show.
Yeah, that was incredible, right? I remember all of us, a bunch of us came from Buffalo because exactly them not playing there. We had to go see Slayer on this tour. I mean, I don't think we saw Slayer up to that point. I remember.
Well, remember we were supposed to see. You were probably at the show with Venom and Exodus.
Well, you know what? Remember Hella Waits was supposed to come to Buffalo, and then it got canceled.
Well, the day of the show, I remember I was there waiting in line.
Yeah. Well, it's funny about that, Bill, too. I remember I was down in Florida. I was hanging with Barnes at the time, and we were down in Florida, and we were going to miss that show, and we were so pissed because we were like, we're going to miss Slayer on this tour, and then we found out that it never happened.
And you're like,
so
yes.
we were like, yes. I mean, and all you guys were like,
oh, dude, it was brutal. Actually, a riot broke out. People were throwing rocks and bottles. And
I remember, man, because we had, of course, good friends at the time there, and everybody, like, oh, man, it didn't happen. And we're like, what? And, we were, on the side there kind of like smiling because we didn't miss anything.
Yeah.
So that would have been our first time seeing Slayer, of course. That's exactly when they came with Rain and Blood, and we were like, of course, we have to go to Rochester. And we all drove out. And
Killer.
The show was utterly incredible.
Yep.
What an amazing show. So, and then number 4, I don't know what number 4 would be. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. I mean, I've done this so many concerts, and those 3 were definitely the most special and the most memorable. For the time, I can't think of
there's some honorable mentions. There's always the Priest, Maiden, Number of the Beast, Screaming.
That was amazing. I was at that one. I was at the in Buffalo when Priest Screaming for Vengeance and Number of the Beast tour. It was amazing to see that, and that sucks because I try to bring any memories back from that, and it's like, man, I can't. That was so long ago, and I was so young, and it's funny because I didn't even know a lot of. Obviously, Maiden was still kind of new. Of course, they had the older albums, but Priest, we didn't know anything but Screaming for Vengeance at that time. I was I didn't know the back catalog of Priest at that point. So it's kind of like you wish you would have known more, and the concert would have been probably all that better. But just to be at that, to say you were there was an amazing thing in itself. So that was a good one.
Paul, how old are you? 52. About to be 50?
I'll be 54 this year. I just turned 53 in September.
Billy and I are a couple years older.
I know. I knew Bill was older.
He's like 8 months older than I am. I'll be 55 in July. And hey, every generation has it. You look up to us. We have buddies that, saw the Hellbent for Leather and,
Right.
But Billy was sneaking into like Scorpions and 1980 shows. My first show was Nugent 1980.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. When I saw Nugent, that was probably a great show. Now that I look back, I don't know if you remember this one, Bill, when, because when they came to the stadium, in Buffalo, or even you, Vern, there, it was the SummerSlam or Summer Jam. Oh. Foreigner, Ted Nugent, Loverboy, Iron Maiden.
Yeah,
I remember that, and I couldn't go for some damn reason.
Man, I was at that. And
nice.
Like, wow, what a great show! Just seeing Maiden outside like that, and then seeing Nugent was cool. And stadium shows like that were always fun.
Right
on.
So
that was a good one. But yeah, I think that was 82.
That was 82. Yep.
Yeah, right.
Was that 80? Yeah, that was 82.
It was 82. Yeah.
Yeah, it was 82. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, that was the golden year. I think 82, 83. That's like I said earlier, so many shows came through. I mean, it was just unbelievable, And the one cool thing about that, and I don't know if you guys done this or did it or still have them. I have every ticket stub from all those shows.
Ah, you bastard!
I have every one.
I have 90% of mine.
Yeah, that's cool. I always made a note. I have to keep my stubs. So I have my first Kiss ticket stub. I have all these stubs. I mean,
that's awesome.
I got my Metallica. You know what? I don't know if I have that Slayer stub now that I'm thinking about it. I got the Metallica. I do have the Metallica stub from '85.
Did you you were in Buffalo? Did you ever go to the Lakeshore Record Exchange?
Oh, yeah, all the time. That's where we got a lot of our found out a lot of our bands.
Yeah.
It was like, of course, we had to get a ride, at that point. But yeah, we'd go to Lakeshore, and the guy would say, hey, check this out. Or we'd see an album there. Wow, what's that? Put this on and listen to it. Oh, I gotta get it. So yeah, we went to Lakeshore a lot. Yeah.
The Rochester or did you ever go to the Buffalo location?
Well, in the Buffalo one, would have been the Buffalo location,
Because I'll send you the link. A couple springs ago, I did a 3-part series with Ron and Jackie Stein, the Ron Stein that did Lakeshore Record Exchange.
Oh, nice.
And
awesome.
it's if you ever have to take a long ride and listen to this, he tells the entire story of how he got into retail, how he got into metal, how everything happened, how he ended up. He was the guy that was promoting all those shows at the Penny Arcade.
Oh, nice.
And
awesome. Cool.
I'm just gonna give you one little spoiler on it. His the most successful show at the arcade he promoted was that Raining Blood. So,
oh man, awesome.
He talks about the days in Buffalo, how he had that store, Woo Woo, how he talks about when Venom was doing the in-store, and it's a great walk down Buffalo heavy metal memory lane.
That sounds great. Yeah, that'd be awesome to hear. That's some. I'm sure like you said, it's got some great stories there. I'm sure of back in the day. That's awesome to know, and that to hear that's got to be pretty cool.
All right. Well, thank you for spending a little time with us. We will be at the show. I'm going to go see my first Cannibal Corpse show. And,
cool.
Not to be a downer, but do you have anything to do with the band with the vax protocol? Is it out of your control? What's all that horse shit?
Yeah, I mean, all that is going to be kind of out of our control. I mean, obviously you're going to have your internal, the bands, what they want to do in a band setting, like you get together. All right, do you want, nobody backstage, nobody on the bus, those kinds of things. I mean, I think a lot of bands want to have people vaccinated in their crew and all this kind of stuff. All that kind of, so we have nothing to do with venues or any of that. That has nothing to do with us, which, I know it sucks because, I wish we could have more say, but I know we don't have any say when it comes to any of that with venues, what they're going to allow or what have you. I mean, every state seems different, and it comes down to every city for the most part. So who knows? But unfortunately, we have no say in any of that, which it's unfortunate.
Yeah, well, I'm good to go on. I don't know what Bill's situation is, but I'll have him reach out to you if we can. Maybe like to shake your hand and say hello. So
yeah,
I'll be at that show. I'll unless I have to jump through some serious hoops, but I'll be at that show.
Yeah, well, it'll be great to see you, Billy.
You too, man.
Great to meet you, Vern.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'll be awesome, man. So can't wait. Looking forward to it.
All right, I'll let you say goodbye to Bill. Paul, thanks for your time again.
All right, man. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. And that was a lot of fun.
All right, yeah, dude. It was great talking to you, man. I know it's been a while, but
I know, man. Damn, dude. It's been too long. No shit. I know. How long has it been? A couple of years?
Yeah, last time we saw each other was Syracuse, I think, when you guys played
damn, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say Syracuse, and that's been a while now.
Actually was 3. Was it? Coming up. It'll be 3 years this year.
Oh, okay. Damn, it seems longer, man. It's crazy. It seems longer, but yeah, no shit, dude. Wow. Man, that'll be good to see you, of course, man.
Absolutely.
See you like always, man. Always good to see you, Billy. So looking forward to that, man. Yeah, damn. Just hopefully it's not, sub-zero temperatures. So.
I know. You never know with this town. Sometimes you get lucky and then we get a warm, like today was 40, which is like a heat wave.
Yeah, that's a heat wave.
And it was sunny too.
That's crazy, dude. That's a heat wave for February. Great talking to you guys, and
you as well.
Yeah, thanks. And we'll see you guys in a couple of weeks, man.
All right, tell everybody I said hey when you see him.
I will, man. I will do that, Bill.
Right on, dude.
All right, see you, man.
All right, guys. Take care.
All right,
bye.
you too.
All right, bye.
Metal for life.
Thank you for listening to Metal Mayhem ROC. Check out our website at metalmayhemroc.com for information on podcasts, archives, links to all our live radio shows, and all sorts of info. Please like, follow, and share with everyone, even your non-metal friends. And always remember to keep it heavy.